how did Ross Robinson's situation happen with this? Like, was it he did Korn, he did this, we need him? Or, I mean, were you privy to any of that kind of stuff? Or were you just kind of like, all right.
It was already decided that we were going to work with Ross before I got in the band. Like, they were telling me the plans, they had the date set and everything. I know that McLean and Ross were good friends before Ross even became the new metal producer. That was something that was already decided, and I think they were planning on going in more of that direction. I wasn't like, it was already planned when I got in.
When you go into this record and Ross is producing, and obviously Ross has, you know, all the history with throwing things at people, throwing flower pots at people to get a good take. Right. Was there anything in the recording process of this that you remember back to and go, oh my, you know, he was like, Ahrue, we got to get more feeling and emotion, and he's punching you in the face. Anything like that going on with this record?
Yeah, I mean, just the whole approach and just how important he felt like the emotion of the music was. So like, I had never been in any, I mean, before Machine Head, I was only in like local bands and, you know, gone into like small studios and done records in like 3 days and things like that.
Yeah.
So everything was like on a way bigger level than anything I had ever done. And coming into it, you know, it's like, I always thought the emotion was really important in music, but the extent that he prioritized, like, especially in the vocals and in the guitars, it was kind of like an awakening, and it made me realize, I don't know, it was almost like a spiritual experience, like realizing what putting true emotion and feeling into music and how important that is. And that's what he was really good at.
One more thing on Ross, you were talking about, you know, learning how to really feel the guitar parts and really feel the emotion channeling through the guitar and things like that. How did you do that? Because I mean, obviously I played guitar and bass my whole life, and you know, you can play a part right, and that's what you feel like you should be doing in the studio. But he's like, not only are you playing, you need to play it right, but you also need to feel it. Was there a change in you for that?
Yeah, I mean, well, a lot, because all the drums were recorded with us in the room playing as well.
Okay.
So he would be in the room with us and like have, you know, like give us a speech on like digging in and tapping into like our emotions and what the song's about and what the lyrics of the song are about. So that there was like, when you're playing that song, your energy is like, you're thinking about what the lyrics are about and what the song's about. And you're just like giving it your all with that kind of intention. And to me, you know, in the past, I had never done anything. It was just like, play it tight, you know? And
right.
And that was so that the drum tracks have that same, you know, because back then it's like there wasn't a lot of editing with drums or anything for that matter. I mean, we recorded it to 2-inch tape, so we had to like, you know, what we laid down is pretty much what was gonna be on the album. It's kind of like one of those things that like you can't explain it scientifically and prove it scientifically, but when you know that there's that intention behind those drums, and when I listen to that album, I can feel that.
Going into the studio is a much bigger production. I mean, when you went in there, what really kind of took you aback as far as like the recording process, especially with Ross being the way he is, with Rob being the way he is, you know, Adam's there and Dave's there, like everybody's kind of already been there. So it's like, when you walked in, like what was so different for you in that recording and writing process?
I mean, just like, for one is like how tight you had to be, because like we would record everybody with the drums with everybody in the room, but then we'd go back and record our regular tracks. So like Ross would say, try it again, you're behind the beat, or try it again, you're rushing. And like I couldn't even hear the difference. Like I was like, what? You know, like,
right? Like I thought I just did the same thing.
And then there was a time where like all this press was in there from like all these European magazines and American magazines, and there's probably about like 7 journalists in the room, and I was tracking guitar with Ross. And I think Ross kind of was like, because Ross was also known for how hard he pushed people, so I think he was kind of putting on a show at my expense, like, you know, like, no, try it again, do it again, and like yelling at me and stuff. And I felt like I was gonna cry. It was pretty bad. But when I thought back about it, I was like, man, he wasn't doing that to get the best take. He was like, you know, trying to, you know, there was press there, so he was trying to like
live up to his
live up to his reputation.
Right.